A formula for permutations. Permutations of n things taken are at a time. That means you have n choices, but you are going to take only the r out of n, but take one at a time of the group. The formula is nPr, or p from the n things taken r is n factorial divided by the difference of the n and r factorial. For example, if you are going to find the permutation of the group of the 20 items, but you take only 3 items, that means you are going to compute 20 factorial divided by 20 minus 3 factorial, which is 20 factorial divided by 17 factorial. If you do it manually, you're going to have to expand the 20 factorial as 20 times 19 times 18 times 17 times 16, and then keep multiplying until you multiply by 1 by the divided by the bottom, which is 17 times 16 times going down one at a time until you hit multiply by 1. We expand this way for our convenience because we see that from 17 down, they all will be canceled. And then we just have to find the product of 20, 19, and 80. That should come out to be 6840. And if you use the calculator, what you can do, I'm going to do the simulation using the TI-84 for 20 permutations of the 20 taken R at a time. So from your graphing calculator, you're going to select the number for the n, which is 20, and then hit the button mask, and you click on the arrow to hit the PRB, which is the last option of the top row, and then move the cursor down to the second option, which is nPr. Hit enter. You should see the icon nPr showing on the screen, and then you're gonna type the value R. For this example, you're gonna take 3. All right, and then hit enter, and the number is 6840 as a result, the same as what we computed by hand. So we're gonna compute the first one, which is permutation of the 10 selecting 4. So this one means you have, by explaining this, you're gonna select 4 items out of 10 items, or the group of the 10. The first time you have 10 options. Second time, since 1 is already placed, so then that item is done. The rest of the group gonna be down to 9. So the second time you have just 9 options, and then 8 options, and then 7 options. So this is the way to expand it or do it by hand. And you can see, I'm gonna show you real quick, the result gonna be the same as the permutation of 10 selecting 4 and the product of the 10, 9, 8, and 7. So using the calculator, I'm gonna clear this. From the first example, that 10 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 7. So we're going to get 5040 or 5040. Why we use the formula, like we're going to type the n, which is 10, and then hit the math button and use the cursor to get to the choice PRB, and move the cursor down to select the option 2, which is nPr, and type the R. In this case, the R is 4 because we select 4 out of 10, but we do 1 at a time. Hit enter, and the answer will be the same, 5040. So you can do either manually or using the calculator as long as you know what's going on. With the formula, if you want to write as a formula, it's going to be 10 factorial divided by 10 minus 4 factorial, or 10 factorial divided by 6 factorial. You do it manually, you expand by hand, to be 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, all divided by 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 from the 6 factorial. As you see, the product from the 6 down to 1 going to be reduced or cancel out. That means you are going to find the value of 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. And the result comes out to be 5,040. Okay, so for number 2, 3, and 4, we do the same way. If you do the formula, it's going to be 3 factorial, which is the n value, and the r is 3. So divided by 3 minus 3 factorial, or 3 factorial divided by 0 factorial. Note that by definition, 0 factorial equals 1. Okay, so we have 3 factorial divided by 1, or 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. So let's use a calculator. We should have the same number. As I'm going to clear this up, and the n is 3. Use the math button, select the PRB and the second option, and the R is 3. Enter. So the answer is 6, the same as what we get. The next one, permutation of 3 selecting 0. So since n is 3 divided by n minus r factorial, simplify to be 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial, which is definitely 1. So let's confirm with the graphing calculator. We're going to have the group of the n items, hit the math button, hit the PRB, and then the second option for the permutation formula, selecting 0 and then enter. So the answer is 1, the same as what we computed by hand. The next one, n is 142. So 142 factorial divided by 142 minus 2 factorial. So the n is 142, the r is 2, and simplify to be 142 factorial divided by 140 factorial. When we do it by hand, we can expand as 142 times 141 times 140 times 139, and then keep going until you hit multiply by 2, multiply by 1, which is the lowest positive integer. Where the 140, I align the same column here, 140, and next to 139, and down until you hit 2 and hit 1. Again, you can see that the 140 down to 1 will be canceled. What you have to do is just multiply 140 and 142 and 141, and the result should be 20,022. Let's confirm with the calculator. The n is 442. Hit the math button, select the PRB, and then move the cursor down to the option 2, which is permutation formula, the nPr, and you select 2 from those groups, hit enter, and the answer is the same as 20,022.